Ladies and gentlemen, what's good, y'all? It's the Chillmeister, J. Christian Gary, and you're locked into another Focus Fights audio interview. And with the Summer of Champions event now less than 48 hours away as of the time of me recording this, Booker T's Reality of Wrestling is battening down all the hatches when it comes down to continuing to prove that they are indeed the flagship of Texas wrestling. And one of the people who is leading that charge is someone who just a couple of years ago came into the row from the Big Easy and has made a lasting impact behind the mic and behind the scenes. He has over a decade of commentary experience ahead of him, or behind him actually, and he has that energy that brings with him to every Reality of Wrestling glory taping that happens just about every weekend, and hopes to make an impact this weekend down in Texas City at 9500 Emmett F. Lowry Expressway. Just a little heads up, for more information go to realityofwrestling.com or call 281-993-5321 during regular business hours. Few seats remain. Anyways, my guest at this time hails from Covington, Louisiana. He is the contrarian, because he speaks truth or calls it out, Sammy Kiss. Sammy, where you at though? How are you?
Hey, it's Sammy K, and I'm feeling good. I'm actually in the Big Easy, New Orleans right now, and I will be making the trip to Texas City, Texas in just a few hours to call not one but two shows. We've got the WWE ID Showcase, and then Saturday is Reality Wrestling Showcase 12. I am pumped, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Jay.
Hey, you're welcome, Sammy. Now, I just gotta ask, we had so much fun talking before I hit record, but when you joined the Reality of Wrestling about, I would say, 2 or 3 years ago, what was the first thing that made you realize this promotion was different than what you were used to back in the Big Easy?
Well, so New Orleans is such a great bubble of culture, and there's so much to do in New Orleans. And because of it being such a mixing pot, you have such a variety amount of people of different kinds of fandoms. And for whatever reason, professional wrestling has never been the hotbed here in New Orleans that it is in other states. Part of that is it's regulated in Louisiana in a different way than it is in most states of the United States. Most companies that try to start pro wrestling aren't able to get their feet on the ground. But I was always grateful that Luke Hawks, who founded Wildkat Sports, was able to do that, because the mission for us at Wildkat was always to bring professional wrestling to New Orleans and have that form of entertainment be available for the fans that missed out on it as a kid. Because when I was a kid and I loved pro wrestling, I was always disappointed that I couldn't see wrestling more. WWE would come through town once or twice a year, and then that would be it. And Wildkat, the mission was to be able to feed the fans that love pro wrestling so they could see more wrestling and see professional wrestlers that live here in Louisiana, live in New Orleans. And for about 15 years, we've been able to do that. And it's been very exciting, but the thing about professional wrestling here is that it's really just us. Like, we grow and we do big things, but we're kind of like an island unto ourselves. Whereas if you go to like Florida, or you go to New York, or you go to California, and of course in the state of Texas, there are wrestling promotions that pop up all over the place. And when that happens, people try to differentiate themselves. They try to find a niche. I know there's there are these companies that have kinds of those, the Texas death match style that's very famous, whereas I think Reality of Wrestling is as close to a WWE product and has grown more and more and more to that standard of that professionalism. That Reality Wrestling is second to none. That Reality Wrestling wanted to make a point that there's a lot of wrestling in Texas, but there's only one Reality of Wrestling. And I think over the last 20 years, and at least since I've been there for the last few years, we've upped our game every single time we do a show, and I think that's only going to keep happening.
I see, and to be honest, going back to your days doing professional wrestling events in New Orleans with Wildkat, being there alongside somebody like Luke Hawks, who's been just about everywhere in the business, even has his son doing things now, and is even part of the reason why pro wrestling credits count as entertainment credits in Louisiana. But do you feel like when it came down to the fact that you said earlier, not a lot of people grew up in the heyday of professional wrestling in Louisiana, when from the 40s all the way up to the 80s when they used to have big shows at the Superdome? I mean, do you feel like you're basically helping professional wrestling history thrive in the state of Louisiana?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, everywhere I go, I'll work in Texas and Mississippi and Florida, anywhere in the South. And, excuse me. And, even to this day, I'll bring up that, I work with professional wrestling, and someone will go, oh, yeah, I used to watch it. And then they'll always bring up, like, Junkyard Dog or Ernie Ladd and all these wrestlers from, like, the 70s, which is when wrestling was really huge down here in the South. You had Mid-South, you had, of course, the NWA, and they were running shows at the Superdome and all those kind of huge events. But as has been well documented, professional wrestling, WWF, when it got bought by Vince McMahon, started really kind of putting all of the territories out of business one by one. And a lot of the companies that used to really promote in the South exclusively went out of business. And WWE now would come here, every year, but as a national company that tours around the country and even now tours around the world, they can only be in this part of the country so often. So even though there was always professional wrestling here, it wasn't at the same level of quantity that it used to be. Because you used to be able to go to a wrestling show almost every single weekend. Now it's once or twice a year. And I've been very privileged to be part of a company like Wildkat Sports. I'm one of the co-owners now, and we do our best to bring as much wrestling content to New Orleans and to the state as we can. We've got a big event in November where we're going to be at the Hilario Center, where we will draw 2,000 or 3,000 people there. So we've grown a lot over the last 15 years, from drawing just a few dozen people to thousands, and we've got a lot more space to grow. But I'm very proud that we've been able to really kind of restore professional wrestling, at least here in New Orleans and in Louisiana. But we want to go even bigger. We want it to be, ideally, I think Booker T with Reality Wrestling would think the same thing as because we're based in Texas City and Houston, but to expand to where we can run shows all over the state, all over the country. Like, that's always the goal in any company, is to keep growing, to keep getting bigger and better every single week.
I mean, to be honest, Booker T tried to do shows in, Las Vegas, and he obviously did a few shows in, Nacogdoches and Huntsville, and even down on Galveston Island for, the big biker weekend. But still, though, I can definitely see if a lot of fans are more interested in the reality of wrestling, and I should know because I've been a fan of this promotion for going on about 15 years now, since they first aired on local television. But still, though, when it comes down to the realm, I think that they do have that opportunity to expand their footprint as more than just the flagship of Texas wrestling. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, sure. I mean, we've got our outreach. We've got our YouTube channel now. I know that Summer Champions is going to be airing there as well. So even if you're not in the state of Texas, you can still check out the excellent content, all the superstars at Reality Wrestling. And now that we're hooked up with the WWE ID program, it's never been a better time to sign up and for people to try and reach that brass ring of going even beyond Reality Wrestling, of going to maybe Evolve or NXT, or ideally one day with WWE. But yeah, the sky's the limit for Texas wrestling with Reality Wrestling.
Now, speaking of the reality of wrestling, obviously this is a key WWE ID promotion, and alums like Eli Knight and the Usos and all of them have basically been through the promotion. And now you got EK Prosper, the former Eli Knight, being on WWE NXT. You got the Usos dominating the main roster. You got all these stars, and I think I've seen a picture of an entire wall of honor where you had all your top alums basically plastered across the rafters. But when it comes down to the WWE ID placement. What can fans hope to expect from the Raw and the competitors working both WWE and even reality of wrestling events? Because I realize now that one of your champions now is a NXT superstar in Nico Vance.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, what can fans that come to reality wrestling see? What can the superstars in WWE do if they watch Raw? It's going to be the same thing. You're going to be looking at the stars of WWE tomorrow. You said it yourself. You got EK Prosper's now in NXT. He's a former reality wrestling glory champion. You mentioned the Usos. Their banners are hanging up high. We just had Jey Uso in the house the other day. We've got Roxanne Perez, one of the prominent members of the Judgment Day on WWE Raw. She's a former reality wrestling women's champion. The stars of tomorrow are stars first in reality wrestling.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, how could I forget Roxanne Perez? I mean, I share a birthday with the woman. She basically is 9 years younger than me, but still, though, she is definitely one of the more iconic competitors in the 20-year history of the reality of wrestling.
Oh, yeah, and Roxanne is a class act. And when she first started, I think we all knew that she was going to be huge. She was a project starting when she was only 15, 16 years old, and has gotten so much wisdom. That's why she's so young in the WWE. People don't realize just how experienced she has, breaking her teeth at reality of wrestling, making a name for herself there before going on to NXT and then eventually the main roster. And I think that that's something that people don't appreciate, that it takes 10 years to be an overnight success sometimes at WWE. You think they just got there, but they had to put work in year after year after year just to get that opportunity to be seen on a worldwide stage. And reality wrestling is one of those places where people can apply their craft, can learn, can grow, and become the superstars that they all hope to be.
I see. Now, considering the fact that this promotion was a former independent... well, actually, in a way, it still has that independent wrestling spirit, I guess. But with some fans claiming, just because of this WWE ID program, that independent wrestling is dead, and you got all these WWE superstars working indie shows now. I mean, do you feel that, in a way, with promotions like The Raw, with promotions like Wildkat Sports and Entertainment, that independent wrestling is truly alive and well?
Well, I think when people say independent wrestling, that means different things to different people. Reality wrestling is independently owned by Booker T and Sharmell. At Wildkat Sports, that company is independently owned by myself, by Luke Hawks, by Matt Lancey. These are not companies that are owned by other corporations. They're not owned by anybody else, and they're operated and run by individuals like myself, like Booker T. Now, is reality wrestling a place where they gear their content in a manner that's similar to WWE? Yes, but that's not because they're not independent. That's because we're trying to do the best job of making the company as successful as it possibly can be. And I don't think of a company that's been more successful in professional wrestling than the WWE. And now, as it being attached to an ID program, that's not reality wrestling now shifting to being something more like WWE. Raw more or less is the exact same thing that it's always been. It's more that WWE identifies the school as a good source or place where people can grow and learn in ways that they think will be able to be adapted. This is the kind of place where they would look, go like, oh, we think this guy is someone that we would be interested in bringing in. And it's more putting a name to those kinds of things. I think people get it backwards that WWE ID'd certain schools, and then now they're not independent anymore. Now they're going to change it. It's the opposite. It's that these were independent schools that showed the ability to be higher than what is perceived as quote-unquote independent. I say all the time, and so does Booker T, that reality wrestling is not an independent company, that we're a television company. And we're trying to produce content at the highest level, that if you watch it, you don't think of this as just a bunch of guys holding cameras. This is a legitimate produced show, and if you've been to any of the reality wrestling events, you know that that's exactly what it is. I mean, the production on our shows is second to none. Kevin Bernhardt, who's our head producer, works tirelessly. I don't know when Kevin even gets to sleep, we're always talking in the middle of the night because both of us are always up late, working hard to try and make everything as great and as strong as possible. And I think that work ethic, that standard that reality wrestling holds, and the fact that Rogue reaches out to people, because I mean, like when I was working at Wildcats, right now at Wildcat, me and Luke Hawks talk about the same way, that that's not an independent company, that we are trying to make a television company. We're trying to produce a legitimate show. And I think there's a difference between that perception of independent wrestling versus what actually is independent wrestling. Now, in terms of youth movement and trying to break through and trying to make a name for the scene, I think the independent wrestling scene is alive and well. I mean, there's companies all over the country showcasing some of the best talent. I mean, like, I don't think there's any shortage of great professional wrestlers getting an opportunity to wrestle all over the country. Now, at what level that is, how much money these talents are making, how much reach they're getting, varies from company to company. And I think that at Reality Wrestling, we've proven that we're not just because of the visibility of the WWE ID program, but because we're on the CW. We've got, weekly showy casing of our event Platinum, and then you can watch Glory on our YouTube channel as well. The reach is there that I think makes us more than an independent company.
And I mean, speaking of that brand split, I mean, despite the brand split, the reality of wrestling is still that same product airing on over-the-air television stations across the country, namely on its home base, which is CW39 down here in Houston. And that station has a big professional wrestling history dating all the way back to when the station started back in 1967. But do you feel that regardless of whatever show you're watching, whether it's Platinum or Glory or a big-time event for the road, that they're still watching the same action they're used to seeing on a regular basis?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I don't see any difference in the product ever since we shifted from the to WWID, and that's not anything other than a testament to the quality of the talent that we have. You've got guys like Ryan Davidson, Will Allday, former road champions that work harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life, and they turn in performance after performance. I mean, the match that these two had against each other recently would belong on any episode of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. But that's not a performance that that's a performance that these two men have been putting in for years now. And I think what's great about the ID program is that it gives a new lens, a new attention, that people can see guys like that and then maybe go, oh, these guys are really damn good, and give them hopefully opportunities like EK Prosper, who got an opportunity to be on NXT now, to give these guys opportunities to grow and get more of a reach outside. But as far as the ID program and whether it's changed reality wrestling or not, all that means now is that now you've got talents like NXT, you've got other people kind of coming in and working with the reality wrestling talent, so it creates fresh matchups, exciting opportunities for both sides, whether you're on the independent side of the ID program or whether you're on the side of the NXT superstars that are also trying to get more experience, trying to get more reps in, and trying to wrestle as many different kinds of talents as possible, all so that they can, sharpen their craft and be the best wrestlers that they possibly can be.
Understood. Now, when it comes down to your background, I mean, obviously, we talked about this earlier before we hit record. I mean, you're not a traditional sports commentator. You're a pro wrestling fan through and through. But when you first started as a professional wrestling commentator, what was the first thing you had to learn in order to get a feel for what action you're describing?
Well, when I first got into professional wrestling, I had a great conversation one weekend with the late, great Roddy Piper. Mm-hmm. I told him that I wanted to get involved in pro wrestling. And I was this kid. I never played sports. I never was particularly athletic. I just knew that I loved professional wrestling. I wanted to get involved. And it was a wonderfully sobering moment where I was nervous. I was telling him this. You tell people these dreams, and most people tell you, that's a pipe dream. Like, that's not something that you're ever going to be able to be successful. You should go to school. You should do these kinds of things, which I did do that as well. But he just looked at me and just said, is there a school nearby? And I said, yeah. He said, well, just go. Just like, what are you doing? Like, just go do it. Like, there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to really worry about. Just if you know you want something, you should just go for it. And that's what I did. And I think that whether it's in the back of my mind or in the front of my mind, I don't think professional wrestling as a wrestler was something that I ever thought was really in the cards. Not because I couldn't achieve it, but because the hill to climb as someone who was not athletic, to get in shape, to work hard, because I don't think people really appreciate just how hard it is to condition your body, to train, the level of athleticism that the talents have and are willing to go through to be professional wrestlers. There are people that will set up rings in their backyard and say they're pro wrestlers, but to be a true professional wrestler takes a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of work, and you have to have a lot of talent for that to pay off. And I started thinking, what is my talent? Like, if I had to apply my talent, and as from when I was a little kid, I always knew I wanted to be part of the company, but I always found myself thinking that I wanted to be out there with Jim Ross and with Jerry the King Lawler. I wanted to be out there with Paul Heyman, like talking about professional wrestling. For whatever reason, I felt that I had an aptitude to call the action, to tell the stories, and that I understood what that gimmick was, that I understood that the commentary is there to help accentuate the story, that the wrestlers in the ring are physically telling a story with their bodies, and we're trying to help voice that story. We're trying to have echo what is going on so that the audience at home understands the story better, even higher, like turning the volume up, adding some backgrounds, adding more to the band. Like if the wrestling is the bass guitar and the drums, we add the hi-hat, we add the electric guitar over it to kind of tell a story that's a little more exciting and more visceral for the audience to understand, and can highlight that. So I think that I came into the business already understanding that for whatever reason. I think it's just something that you can't really teach. You just have to kind of innately get that wrestling is about storytelling. It's not about the moves. It's about the story that the moves represent. And because of that, I was able to jump in and do commentary in a way at a higher level than I think most people do from the start. And that afforded me opportunities to really kind of grow. And I'm very thankful of that, because it's gotten me, where I am at Wildkat Sports and now where I am in reality wrestling.
Oh, yeah, of course. And, speaking of the reality of wrestling, from a commentary standpoint, I mean, I know that we talked about this earlier before hitting record, that, Kirby Carreon, Brad Gilmore, Chris Russo, and even Carolina Teague have some very unique mannerisms about themselves on and off the mic. But what has been the best part about working alongside those four, just from learning more about them and how they interact when it comes down to the action?
Oh, it's so great. I mean, sometimes we'll have these nights where the commentary table mixes up from between each and every match, where I'll be working with Kirby, and then I'll be working with Brad, then I'll be working with Russo, then I'll be working with Carolina. Sometimes, obviously me and Kirby are the dynamic duo, the dream team working together on Glory, and we have been for the last couple of years. But I've worked with everybody on the commentary team in reality wrestling, and it's always very interesting to just feel how different I find myself speaking, how different I feel the dynamic is, because we each bring our own flavor, our own distinct perspective on things to the commentary team. You've got Brad Gilmore, who's the boat, he's the ace, he's the guy that's got his hands in everything, whether it's making music, writing books, making movies, talking to the stars about the movies they're in now, in addition to being great on commentary. Then you've got Chris Russo, who's the dynasty. He's my mentor. He started with Byron Saxton, got his feet wet in FCW under Jim Ross and Dusty Rhodes. You've got guys like Kirby Carreon, who with me, I feel like me and Kirby are so connected in our hunger to really make it to the next level, to be the top commentators. We're competing with the other commentators and even with ourselves, I think, in that way of sense that, like, I want to be the best that's ever done this. I want to be the person that people say, like, oh, the best person I ever heard doing this job is my name versus his name. So I think because of that, we are always trying to help each other, lift each other up, and it feels like we do better every single time we go out there. And in Carolina, I mean, she's such a straight fighter. She has that sports experience that I never really had. I'm a pro wrestling fan. I mean, you can look at me sideways all you want. Other sports I've never really cared for. I've always been really just into professional wrestling. Where Carolina, she's got such knowledge and such experience in all of those facets that she brings that perspective and that grounded vantage point to her commentary. So I think because of all of these different perspectives, we've all been able to create a very unique dynamic at Reality Wrestling, not just between each other, but that Platinum sounds very distinct from Glory. And I think that makes shows like Summer Champions this weekend, where we're going to have everybody doing commentary, it's going to create a very exciting, a big show feel with all of us doing our jobs.
I mean, to be honest, I basically had to go back to Carolina Teague a little bit. When it comes down to her launching off sports references like crazy, or even when Brad Gilmore, who's busier than just about everybody in the professional wrestling world these days, at least down in this region of the country, you know, whenever they fire off sports references, that kind of blows right by your head, don't it?
Oh, blows by in what way? You mean, I always think it's great to try and incorporate the world outside of professional wrestling within it, and it shows how interlocked everything is. You can reference this, and it helps someone that maybe if they're not as big of a wrestling fan, because that's what's so great about reality wrestling shows, that we've got people in the audience that I see every single show. We've got guys on the front row that bring signs every single event. They talk to me before the show. They're always excited. Their passion never seems to deplete, no matter how many times they show up. And then we also have these fans that have never been to a wrestling show before. Not just never been to a row show. They don't know anything about professional wrestling. They don't know how it works. They don't get the idea. They just know it's something that their loved one or their friend is interested in. So whenever you can talk about something that maybe those fans can relate to, that they are interested in, that they understand, it only is going to help them be able to invest in the what they're seeing, what they're enjoying that much more. Now, for someone who's already invested, that will blow past you, but that's really not what that's for. And I think that's what's so great about having different voices on the commentary table, is that you have to kind of play to both of those audiences. You have to speak to the fan who's seen a million matches before in their life, and you also have to speak to the fan who's never seen a match before, period. And you got to be telling both of those stories at the same time, and it can be really fun juggling to really echo those stories the same way you would to anybody about anything, where no matter what you're interested in, if you're talking to someone about a movie that you've seen a million times, you're going to talk to them differently about it than someone who's never seen that movie, period. And sometimes you're having that conversation at the same time. You're talking with all of your friends about something you love, whether that's sports or movies or comic books or whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about. And I think one of my favorite things with wrestling commentary is figuring out the dynamic of balancing talking to someone who knows everything and talking to someone who doesn't know anything whatsoever.
Understood. And I mean, when it comes down to, the dynamic, I mean, it's like Booker T always says that pro wrestling is like Shakespeare. It's like Romeo and Juliet. I mean, it's like something that could basically catch your eye, but also bring you to your core, so to speak. Am I right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. There's nothing like professional wrestling. And I think that's the problem when people try to describe it to someone that's never seen it, because you're always trying to compare it to other things and explain what it is in its juxtaposition to something else. It's like the Super Bowl. It's like this. It's like a soap opera. But the truth is that professional wrestling is its own thing. And I'm so happy that it's got more visibility and more people are able to access and enjoy and appreciate it now, maybe more than ever before, because you can see people more and more realizing that you really can't compare wrestling to anything. You have to see it to really understand it. But the best example way to show is that it is like Shakespeare. It's storytelling. It's high drama. It's good versus evil. It's accomplishing these things with dramatic setbacks and be able to push through and overcome to achieve your goals. There's so much story wrapped in professional wrestling, and even the smallest way, even a basic match that you just should turn on television randomly has so much into it. And what always captivated me when I was a kid is how much history involves with professional wrestling. Every single time there's a match that happens, it adds to the hundreds of years lore of professional wrestling. It adds to the story. Every single time you watch something, it adds to the lineage of professional wrestling. So no matter what you're seeing, it's like you're being a part of history. And then when you've got big shows, big events, like reality wrestling, this weekend is going to be one of our big events of the year. You know that really big parts of those stories, bigger than normal, are going to happen. So it makes it that extra more exciting. But I've always found that it feels like no matter what you're watching with wrestling, you're in a bit of a chapter, even if you don't realize.
Oh, yeah, of course. And when it comes down to that Booker T influence, I mean, what has learning under him, or basically learning under his presence, taught you?
When I first got into professional wrestling, I saw myself as a Jim Ross type, someone that does more of the play-by-play, which is what the great Kirby Carreon does on our team at Glory. That's what I came into this business being more experienced with. But Booker T and the company saw me more as being someone to do more of the analysis role, doing more of the really kind of being more of a character, showing more personality, really talking up the juxtaposition of that, which is something that I didn't have, even though I always felt that was what I wanted to do. It was something that I didn't have the same experience with. And Booker T is someone that genuinely lets completely loose when he's on commentary. He is someone that is Booker T through and through, and lets his personality shine. And one of the biggest lessons he's been able to teach me is to just let your personality out. Let your personality speak volumes, and what would that personality voice to this moment, or how would it feel about this moment that would echo the story that is supposed to be being translated there. And I think the fact that while there are a lot of WWE ID schools, for me personally, as someone who's in commentary and wants to do commentary at the highest level possible, working with the school that has Booker T, who is the lead color commentary at NXT right now, literally doing the job that I know that me and Kirby and Brad and everyone, would love to see ourselves in one day. It's really a great place to learn under his example. And he can tell you not just what he feels, but what is actually the culture, what is actually the environment, what people are looking for, and what really works and what really doesn't. Because there are a lot of people, some people don't think that Booker T's taste is not everyone's favorite flavor. But I think nobody can deny that he brings an incalculable presence and passion to his commentary, that you cannot ignore Booker T on commentary. And he does such a great job of making the superstars, making the moments. I mean, just look at Stephanie Vaquer and all these other wrestlers that it feels like you can hear Booker T's commentary even when they're now on the main roster and not on NXT anymore. He was such an indelible part of getting those superstars over. And he does a great job of coaching myself and all the other commentators on helping us do that same thing here at Reality Wrestling.
Now, when it comes down to obviously learning under all these great names in professional wrestling, especially Booker T and Luke Hawx, I mean, let's just say, if you were given a different opportunity back in the day to enjoy like some other sports or some other interest, would that be considered your plan B, or would you just be considering saying, pro wrestling is life to me?
Professional wrestling is more mainstream now than it used to be. It's more widely accepted. And I do think that that's great. It's good for the business. It's good for me as someone that's part of the business. But personally, one of the things that I've always loved about professional wrestling is that it always kind of felt like it wasn't appreciated. It always felt like it was kind of disrespected. It felt like wrestling was the kind of thing that you didn't talk to everybody about because it felt like it wasn't cool. When you talk about football, people just assume everybody likes football. Even though there are plenty of people that don't, there are so many people that do. It feels like a no-brainer that if you're talking about a major sports league like the NFL or the NBA or even Major League Baseball, that's something that people are very well aware of. And, wrestling always felt like a niche market in the sense that not everybody thought it was cool. Everyone kind of thought it was. There were people that even thought it was lame. There were people that would make fun of it. I kind of liken it to comic books, where comic books 20 years ago was a very nerdy thing, and while it still is, I guess, in that culture,
it's a multi-million-dollar business.
There's the big Marvel boom, where everybody knows who Iron Man is now and Captain America is, and these are the biggest movies in the world. And that transition of movies has made those kinds of things very cool. You know what I mean? And I think wrestling has become that way, or is working towards that way as well. But for me, the beauty of wrestling was that it's one of the reasons why I think wrestling T-shirts is never going to be anything but an indelible part of the culture. Is that if you see someone wearing a pro wrestling shirt, I know I can talk to them about wrestling. I know I can let my hair down and I can talk to them and we can have a conversation, which I didn't know if we were going to be able to. So because you have this atmosphere where it feels like, I don't know if anybody else likes this thing that I like, and then you go to an arena and there are thousands of people in that building and they all love this same thing. You can feel this energy shift. You can feel this shift of like, I can let loose. I can have fun. It's like being at a concert, but if you're at a concert where no one, the band that you like, everyone hated it and you didn't think anybody else was a fan of it, and then you got there and all of a sudden you're with all these people who love this band. It's like that with every wrestling fandom. It's like that with every wrestling crowd. There's this energy that happens where it feels like you're a family because you can finally communicate. You can go like, hey, we might not be the same. We might not like view the world the same. We might disagree on a lot of things, but the one thing we can agree on is that we love professional wrestling. And because of that, and because I was someone that grew up where I felt like I didn't fit in, and I felt like, maybe there was something about me that people wouldn't like. And I think we all feel that way at times, right? We feel like we don't fit into the world. That when you do that at professional wrestling and you do feel accepted and you feel this passion, not just that accepted, but that someone else like, yeah, and I feel the same way too. And I love this too. For me, there's never been another option. Like, no matter what, anything else, to be able to not just be a part of that crowd as a fan, but to now be part of the culture of the people that are making these moments happen, to be part of the business, is something that I would never trade. And I can't, there's nothing that even comes close to being able to replicate how I feel about where I am in professional wrestling now.
And I mean, I'm sorry, but
no, that's fine. So really, it's like, no, there's no second place. There's no plan B. There's no anything. It's this or nothing, because to me, there isn't anything else.
Understood. But still, though, when it comes down to things like professional wrestling or even comic books, which I said was a multi-million-dollar business, no, it's actually a multi-billion-dollar business. But still, though, when it comes down to things like pro wrestling, anime, comic books, even music from some artists who basically were just independent acts like a decade ago, now, much like Chance the Rapper, they're like selling out shelves all over the country. They're platinum selling artists. They're award-winning artists. But, it's like what you said. It's like me going to an anime convention and seeing a lot of fans who like the same things or even like the same voice actors that I do. But still, though, that when you go to a professional wrestling event or a comic convention or even a concert, you get that type of opportunity to feel something, some type of way with other people who enjoy the same stuff that you do. Am I right?
That's right. That's 100%.
Yeah. And now, when it comes down to this weekend's Summer Champions card, I mean, I don't have the full card in front of me, so, I think it would be best for you to run it down, but what can fans expect to see when they head over to the Walker, Texas Lawyer Arena?
Well, Summer Champions 12, Reality Wrestling puts on a huge event every single month, and I can say that I wouldn't say that any show that Reality Wrestling puts on is something that you would want to miss. We deliver each and every single time, and I'm so proud of our team and of our talent that are so hungry. And it's part of the reason why we had to split the roster. We had to split into Platinum and Glory because we have so much talent in reality wrestling that we couldn't put all of them on every single show. The beauty about Summer of Champions is that this is a joint show. This is a show that features all the best talent from Glory and from Platinum, so it's going to be super packed. So if you have a favorite at reality wrestling, odds are they are going to be performing at this show. The best of the best will be performing at it. So for first and foremost, this is a super show for reality wrestling. On top of that, the Summer of Champions moniker is just that. This is going to be, every championship is going to be on the line. And because we have so much talent, we have so many stacked rosters within each different division, we've got so many multi-man matches on the show as well, because we're trying to cram as many talents on the show to get as much visibility and give the fans as much action as they possibly can. I mean, the two biggest matches to me this weekend are for the two heavyweight titles. We've got Nico from NXT, he's defending the Reality Wrestling Championship in a four-way against Zilla Fatu, Danny Limelight, and Max Castellanos. The three aces, like if you put Nico right up top, all three of those guys, I mean, you got Zilla and Danny. Danny Limelight just had the championship. Zilla Fatu, former road champion as well. Max Castellanos was Texas champion, but is right there to break through that ceiling and maybe become the man as well. So it's a match where four guys, which could really go any different way, and I feel like I would describe that about every single match on the show. But personally, not just because it's the title on my brand, which is the best brand, and it's the champion that represents us, which I'm all about House Money, because House Money's AJ Francis is going to defend the Road Glory Championship against the winner of the Last Stand Rumble, Big Luther. Now, this kid, Big Luther, he's been on a roll. He's one of those kids that started on Breakout, Reality Wrestling's, showcase show for their students, the talent they're trying to break out of the dojo and really step up onto the main roster. He started there, and he's a kid from back in Louisiana, where I come from. I talk to this kid every single week. He's always been trying to get as much experience as he can. We were even able to bring him into Wildkat Sports for the Revolution Rumble a couple years ago. He did great. He's finally breaking through that glass ceiling. The fans at Row are behind this kid. I mean, he eliminated a record 11 people at the Last Stand Rumble, so he's just been absolutely dominant. So it's one of those moments where you got AJ Francis, he's in TNA, House Money, they've been dominating Glory. I can't see anybody really taking the title away from AJ. But then you got Big Luther, who's just been on an unstoppable roll. So if you got two guys that have been so unstoppable so far, and then you put them against each other, it's a recipe for awesome professional wrestling, and I have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm very excited to see this Saturday at Summer Champions.
And I spoke to Big Luther a few days ago. He's definitely a nice competitor. He is nice when you get to know him, but once he gets in that ring, he's all about business.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. He's a very, very humble, very polite young man, soft-spoken, one of the nicest people I've ever spoken to. But yeah, when that bell rings, that red light, the proverbial red light goes on, he turns into an absolute animal, an absolute beast. It's like a completely different person who you're talking to outside the ring versus when he's competing inside the ring.
I see. And, obviously we're getting close to the end. I just want to basically give you an opportunity to put over yourself, to basically publicly put yourself over. I mean, if you got any shout-outs you would like to give, just please go ahead.
Well, hey, this is Sammy Kiss, the one and only. I have been the voice of professional wrestling, whether you like it or not, for several years now. I've worked extensively with Title Match Wrestling, which you can check out. The best of independent professional wrestling is all available on TitleMatchNetwork.com, and you will hear me talking all over it. If you're in Louisiana, you got to come check me out in our company, Wildkat Sports. We got a huge show on September 5th, and, of course, the Revolution Rumble on November 1st. Visit WildcatSports.com. And, of course, why you came here, why you're listening, Reality Wrestling, the #1 professional wrestling school in the great state of Texas, live in Texas City this weekend. We got the ID Showcase on Friday. We've got Reality Wrestling Summer of Champions 12, and it doesn't stop there. We got another show, an event in September, October, November, and on and on and on we go. We are never going to stop until we reach the top, and that's what I'm never going to stop either. I'm the commentator with Kirby Carreon on Glory, so if you can't make it to Platinum or to Glory, I'm going to say come to Glory, but if you can go to both, you should go to both, because Reality Wrestling is must-see professional wrestling, and you definitely want to check it out.
Or if you can't watch it if you can't come out to Galveston County, to Texas City, to the former Mall of the Mainland Complex, which is Mainland City Center now, but still though, point of the matter is, if you can't come out to see this event live, it's going to be available on the Reality of Wrestling YouTube channel. It might be available on TitleMatchWrestling.com. Shout out to Telly Bistis, by the way. And it also will definitely be available, at least the highlights of it will, over the air on whatever station you watching Reality of Wrestling on across the country, even down here in Houston on CW39. So, yeah, it should definitely be an exciting time for professional wrestling fan. Is there anything you would like to say before we close this interview out?
Yeah, go follow me on Instagram, and I'm at _Sammy_Kiss. And I'm always previewing all professional wrestling shows. If you want to keep up with professional wrestling in the southeast of the United States, check me out. Give me a follow. Give me a shout out. I'll give you one too. And thank you for listening. And hey, man, Christian, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. I'll talk forever, if you can't tell, about professional wrestling. I'm very passionate, and I appreciate fans and people who love the business as much as I do, wanting to talk and discuss it. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk about Summer Champions this weekend and professional wrestling in general. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, you're welcome. I mean, to be honest, I'm the same way when it comes down to most fight sports anyways, especially MMA and pro wrestling. But still, though, one more time for the folks who are listening, if you are listening to this live, and I will probably put this interview out within hours of doing this, but if you're listening to this live, go to realityofwrestling.com or call 281-993-5321 during regular business hours. Few seats remain for the Summer of Champions, and once they're gone, they're gone. So it's like Booker T always says, and I hope you don't mind me, poking a little fun, because you probably heard this a few times from him. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to get shut out. Do it. Do it now. Cause Sammy Kiss and the Reality of Wrestling will do it for you, man. Oh, yes.